But my Redeemer, my God, will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me. This does not take place to the wicked people. You see? We will live with him forever and ever. We'll come to the conclusion and a little later regarding this. Let us shift our focus probably for Psalm chapter 71. Shall we go there? Psalm chapter 71. As we are going there, when we read these texts from Psalm chapter 49, we can also just commemorate the phrase told by Job, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I go back to the grave. We are not carrying anything in this world. Let's read verse 20, 71:20. Here again David speaks about coming back from the depths of the earth. What is David exactly talking in this chapter, Psalms chapter 71, when he talks about my God will again bring me from the depths of the earth? What does he mean? I want you to please express your opinion. Okay, as we think about how to answer this question, let us read few verses before to that, before verse 20. Let us read verse 6. Can you read verse 6? 71:6. Yeah, see here Psalmist talks about how it is God who brought David out of his mother's womb. It's not the gynecologist or the obstetrician or the midwives who bring a baby out. They are just instrument, but it is God who safely separates a mother and the child. Maybe the mothers who have delivered will agree with me for what I said. No matter how expert your obstetrician is, but it is God who is separating, because there are so many tribal women and people who live in the country, no doctors, no women. Right here in our campus we had two deliveries. Nobody was there, but they were very safely delivered. You see how God is so gracious in bringing a life into existence into this world. And as we contrast this, David is talking about some kind of difficulties that he underwent. We have to read that. Let us read verse 10 and 11. Maybe some of us may be undergoing this. Verse 10 and 11. Please read. Is there anyone here who have never been accused falsely? Definitely everybody might have undergone this experience, whether as a student or maybe as a sibling. I have seen my own brother several times going and telling to my father and mother something that I didn't do just to escape his mistake. You see, we might have undergone that when I was a kid. Right from our childhood, maybe when we started our college, when we started our work, there are so many false accusers in our job, in our workplace, everywhere. Whether you are in high position or low position, there are people who talk bad about you. And most of our life has been saddened because you think more about it. Our stress is because people talk so and so, and we just become depressed sometimes. And there are at times we assume sometimes, most of the cases, statistics says, most of the cases we assume that people when they talk together, when we walk on the road, we see few people who stand together and talk together. We think maybe this fellow is really talking against me, talking about me. Many occasions we think like that. Because this person has talked before about me, maybe he's telling about me to him, something negative. We think several times. But how did the psalmist take into consideration this experience? That's what we're going to see. And that's going to give us a lot of hope. How we have to deal with false accusers, and when people talk or counsel how to drop you down, how to pull you down, how to maybe when they dig the pit so that you will fall. How are we going to face them? How are we going to face such situations? Let's read. Now, amidst of this thing, let us read verse 17. We read verse 6. Let's read verse 17. Okay. He says, "O God, right from my youth, you have been my teacher." You have been my guide. You have been my counselor. You have taught me. Let's read verse 12. David is seeking God's help. Come quickly and help me. Let's read verse 20 again. I want you to take note of this first phrase. Who have taken David through troubles? Whom is he telling? He is talking to God. It's a prayer. God, you have allowed troublesome situations in my life. God, you have allowed traumatic situations in my life. But yet, David never curses God, but rather he makes a very startling statement. What is that statement? He says, you will revive me again. It is you who have taken me to that depths, but definitely you will revive me again, he says. Now I want you to see the transition of prayer, how David is mentioning about, what David is mentioning about. First, I want you to understand the difficult situation, what he is undergoing. What was the difficult situation? The difficult situation is there are false accusers who talk bad and negatively about him. There are people who conspire against him. And in this kind of situation, what David is doing, he remembers how God, right from his birth, was with him. It is God who separated him from his mother's home, he talks about. He remembers that. And he also remembers that right from his youth, God has been at his side, telling him which way he should go, whether to the right or whether to the left, and which decision to take. He has been his guide and counselor. You see, that's what David says. And when he remembers these things, right from his birth, God was there at every step. That fills him with hope. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mm. Mm. Yes. Mm. Manipulated. That's right. That's right, sir. Thank you for mentioning those things which are practically happening in everybody's life. Yeah, that's right. And let's quickly read verse